right. Hello, everybody. My name is Chelsea Dorsett. I'm a registered dietitian with Huber Personalized Medicine, and I have Dr. Gary Huber here with Huber Personalized Medicine. And we have the lovely Nancy here with us, who we just really wanted to share her story with everyone because I think it is so impactful and inspiring. We just can't wait to interview her and have you, Nancy, tell your story to everybody. So I first want to just start off with, tell us a little bit about the program that you joined back in 2017, which I can't believe it's been that long, but back in 2017 with your company. Tell the audience about that program. What did your company do?
And before you do, if anybody's just tuning into this and they want to know what the heck are we talking about, Nancy reversed type 2 diabetes. She was on insulin and on some other medications and worked herself off of those. And the reason we feel this is so important is so many people get diagnosed with type 2 diabetes and they go, oh, well, I guess that's it. I'm a diabetic now. You can undiabetic yourself. We see it all the time. And Nancy's just a great example of that. And she was to the point that she was on insulin. So that's what we're going to be talking about.
Thank you.
And with that, Nancy, tell us, girl, what did you do?
Well, I think my weight loss, I've been on a diet all my life, but about 7 years ago, I started trying to get serious about it. And there was a program through my work where they had a registered dietitian and workout and all that, but they wanted me to eat so many carbs a day, which even being a diabetic, I knew that I couldn't eat all those carbs every day. So it was a fail. And then Dr. Huber came to my place of employment, and we have a wellness program there where they enlisted his help for everybody. And he believed the same way I do. I knew the carbs just weren't good for me. And at the time, I was at wit's end. I was taking like 100 units of, I got it out of the fridge. I keep it, I guess, maybe as a Levemir Flex Touch.
100 units.
Insulin.
Yeah.
I took 100 units a day. The doctor told me just keep taking it until you wake up and your blood sugar is 105. So I was up to like 105 units, I think, or more a day.
Wow.
Plus, when I had lunch, I'd test my sugar. If it was over 150, I'd take fast-acting insulin, in addition to being on metformin. So no one could believe I was even walking with that much insulin, taking that much insulin every day.
Yeah.
But once I began the program and the weight started falling off, then I started adjusting my insulin back down till like last year. It's been a journey because like last year, if I would try to take any insulin, my insulin would go low. And that's like the worst feeling in the world.
Your blood sugar would go low?
My blood sugar would go down to like 59, 89. And that wasn't workable. So she did put me on another drug that's called Ozempic, which, I don't know. It says it's a semi-gluten. It's not actually insulin, but it just kind of helps keep you even keel.
Helps your body use the insulin you have and helps kind of the on-off switch of insulin. Yeah.
So I do take that, and that's been very helpful. My blood sugar at the highest point, even taking all that insulin, was still like 12 and a half. My doctors were just beside themselves.
I mean, your hemoglobin A1C.
Hemoglobin A1C.
Yeah, it was still 12 and a half, which is really poor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
So with the program, I've lost like over 100 pounds.
Oh my gosh.
And no insulin.
That's amazing.
That's to lose over 100 pounds, anybody would say, oh my gosh, that's amazing. We've seen that a number of times, a great many number of times. But for anybody watching, explain what this program is.
Yeah.
Just in short terms.
Yeah. So it's of course a big, I'm sorry, were you wanting me to explain it or were you wanting Nancy? Okay. Of course,
I want to hear her impression.
Yeah. So of course, as you know, Nancy, and the viewers are learning, we definitely focus a lot on nutrition because you said it in the beginning. The regular diet that is taught by the American Diabetics Association is more of how to control your diabetes or manage it, but we want to reverse it. So we really teach you going into the program how to reverse your fill in the bank, your diabetes, your high blood, pressure. So it's a whole foods approach. We didn't have you count calories. I would agree with that. It's more of that paleo style, low carb diet But more importantly, we focus on this, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we focus on the mindset, and I'm hoping you can speak to that, because I don't think we just gave you a meal plan and say,
Right.
look, I mean, we really worked on our relationship with food and stress and sleep and all the other aspects that impact what we eat and why we eat and how we eat.
So you've explained the program, and I'm going to hear Nancy's view of that from her perspective, which is what most of you want to hear, not me. But in the background of all of this is not all dietitians are created equal. They all graduate, they get their degree, but the American Dietetics Association has agreements with Coca-Cola, Eskimo Pie, McDonald's. You're not necessarily getting taught how to reverse disease when you go to dietetic school. So you as a dietitian are not the norm. And so you and I are really focused on reversing things, not just status quo.
Exactly.
You go to Children's Hospital and you're diagnosed type 1 diabetic. You are not going to get great advice on what to eat or how to eat. And so that's the distinction between the general population's experience and what you may have experienced. So
Exactly.
tell what.
Well, that's the biggest thing I said. Yeah, what's between these two ears is the key. And so there was just a lot of support and a lot of retraining myself to actually heal myself. Natural supplements that you gave us, like melatonin, making sure that you sleep at least 8 hours a day. That's big, because like you taught us, if you're tired, you're going to think you're hungry and you're going to want those carbs to refuel yourself. But if you can get that enough sleep and eat properly, drink lots and lots and lots of water. I remember, lots of people in the group, and we had group support. So that was a big thing too. Not only supporting us, but holding us accountable for what we're doing. And it just felt wonderful to walk down those hallways at work and be thinner. I remember I have pictures, selfies, walking over to this mirror as I did my 10,000 steps a day. This one mirror, I was going there every day and just looking at mirror, and it was wonderful. It really was.
I love that.
And I've maintained. And I remember one lady at work said, they asked her what she did. I think she lost 200 or 300 pounds. And she said, anything I could. Wow. And that was me in the beginning, just anything I could, scratching and clawing, just trying till it started to sink in and it started to work. And you see those scales going in the other direction. And like you said, healing myself, because insulin, puts a cloud in your mind and it doesn't feel good. And all the inflammation and stuff that I had,
well, that's what people need to realize too. The idea of just take more insulin, it's a horrible idea. Yes, we want to get glucose under control, but insulin is just as damaging to your body as glucose is. So when you're taking those kinds of doses, 100 units a day, it's aging you rapidly. Cancer loves insulin as fuel. So if there are cancer cells, it begins to feed those. So it's not a simple solution of, just take your insulin, you'll be fine. It's not. It's just not fixing the actual issue. Tell me, Nancy, think of 1 or 2 or 3 beliefs that you used to have that you have extinguished, and maybe what have you replaced those beliefs with? If you can, I don't mean to put you on the spot.
Some of them. Now I can't think of the name, but what is it where you feel pain all the time, all day long? I've forgotten the name.
Fibromyalgia?
Fibromyalgia. I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia. There's medications that go along with that. And I think what impressed me the most about yours is that you're just throwing, things at the symptoms. You're not actually healing. So healing yourself is very important. I'm older. I get people that I graduated with like, what are you doing? You look so much better. If you look at my pictures back then compared to now, and I am bragging because I'm bragging on you guys actually, and that my work has such a program available, because that's my one thing, is just liking myself. And plus, we had the support groups and we talked about other things, but just learning to like yourself. And if you make a mistake, like one big thing too, it's a holiday. It's not a hollow week or a hollow. It's not.
Tell me, was it a perfect straight line of success? I mean, did you fail? Did you get, tell me about the journey overall, because I imagine someone watching this feels maybe overwhelmed or doubtful that they can do it. Tell me about that. I mean, was it a perfect?
Yeah, another thing too that you taught us that really impressed me was like if you slip up, if you eat a Big Mac, I'm not eating Big Macs ever again, but McDonald's I don't ever have right. But like if I eat a donut or a piece of cake at a birthday party, that's okay.
Yeah.
That lasts long enough to eat that cake, and the next minute you're just right back on it.
Yeah.
Another thing I think is helpful is the keto strips. I think I use the keto strips. I think you suggested something else, and to just watch the colors on those keto strips, and you wake up and you think, oh, I wonder where I am now. And you just applaud yourself for that, and don't beat yourself up for if you eat a piece of cake. You know, don't make it that a habit or anything, because then the next day you feel like you had a hangover or something. You can really tell once you get away from the carbs, you can really tell if you do indulge in some carbs. It's not worth it.
Well, I think one of the things I want to point out when you're looking at your keto strips, you're holding yourself accountable, right? You're tracking something. And we just did a talk, and tracking is important. If you've got something that lets you know you're on track, you're on the right path, then you stay on that path. And a lot of people, you know, they just don't track anything. So they're operating blind. So you're holding yourself accountable with the strips. Were there other tools that you use to kind of track your progress as you were coming down off the insulin?
Well, it was definitely in the beginning, I used the food journal until I realized when I ate, what I ate, and why I ate it. Was I eating it to fuel my body, to help my body, or was I eating it because I just had it out with my coworker, my boss, or husband, or whatever? So stress eating was a big thing. I didn't even realize I was stress eating. I don't think I realized how much I was stress eating until we went through COVID. And I got my 10 pounds. And I mean, it was hard to fight that back off. But I think that just holding yourself accountable and loving yourself and not beating yourself up when you do slip.
And you were being very conscious when you said you do your food journal. So Chelsea and I have created a journal that kind of guides you through this process.
Right. I have you
and once again, that's the concept of consciousness. I'm not just blindly going through life. I'm consciously tracking what I'm doing. And tell, for people that are curious about the journal, how much time in a given day did you spend filling out the pages of the journal?
At first, it seemed like it was tedious. And so I'd be like tracking everything. But then as I began to succeed, I wanted to write down my successes. Like, how am I feeling? And that made a difference when I looked back and said, well, I lost 2 pounds this week. Let's look back and see what went on, what I could have done better. I tracked my steps. That was fun. You can even, you know, sync with your coworkers and see who's walking the most and who's walking, and the group exercise program, and you just log all that. I forget exactly now. I was trying to find it, but working from home, I don't have it at my fingertips. But it's just logging all that and being conscious. You just got to be conscious because you realize how much you're fooling yourself. Oh, I just ate a little bit. I just had a little snack. And those little snacks aren't really little snacks. That's like a whole meal sometimes. When you're cooking.
And then if they're every day, it's not a little snack. It's a daily habit.
I love that you said that it was fun. I mean, you seem like as you're explaining or describing your journey, it was fun. You were curious. You were, you know, a student. You were learning, and it wasn't this dreadful, horrible, you know, choice. I mean, you really not only seem happier, of course, healthier, but you really seem like it was fun for you, which is.
It was fun. It was fun. It was fun to walk over and look in that mirror. It was fun to look at my keto strip and where it should be. And I was proud of myself and liked myself for the first time in a long time.
Well, I was just going to say, sorry. I tell that to my patients all the time. Enjoy this process. It's not a perfect straight line of, you know, success from A to B. I mean, and you're going to have pitfalls and fails, but enjoy it. This should be fun and not.
It is. It's a lifestyle. Like sometimes I would be hungry, but it kind of felt good. It seemed like I was more energetic and more aware of what was going on around me. As whenever I was, you know, in a stupor. You know, I got to protect my mind. Not only my mind, but my body too.
I think a lot of people act as if it's illegal to be hungry in this country, right? God forbid you be hungry for 5 minutes. There's a lot of value in that. Speak to, if you would, I think a lot of times when somebody has diabetes, they're on insulin, or they're on blood pressure medicine, they're on any medicine, it's that sense of I've lost control. I'm out of control. I'm the victim of a disease process. And now clearly you stand as somebody clearly in control of your health and your body. Talk about that a little bit, that sense of when did you start to know, you know what, I can control this?
That's right. I mean, I would go to doctors and they would just scream at me. He brought this insulin and he was just slamming it down on the table, just slamming his fist down. Oh my gosh, it was horrible.
Wow.
What? He wanted you on more insulin as you were coming down?
He wanted me to start taking insulin. And it was embarrassing.
Well, that's
but
the only
now,
thing.
you know, it's going up there. You step on the scales, and they're just really proud of you. And like, what have you been doing? And even the nurses and the doctors and stuff, because it's healthy.
Tell me that. What did your doctor think as your insulin is going from 100 down to 50, down to 20, down to 0, and your weight's coming down? What was his curiosity? What were his questions to you?
She's a really nice lady. If she wasn't my doctor, she'd probably be my friend. And so she would just encourage me and, wow, share that with the nurse, because she was struggling with her weight. And she was still, there's so many misconceptions out there that, well, you have to eat something. And there's a famous bariatric doctor that says you've eaten enough calories to last you the next 4 years. You don't have to worry about putting large quantities of food in your mouth. You just don't. It's like I said, it's just right here. It's just right here between your head.
Well, that wasn't obviously the doctor that was slamming insulin on the table saying, take this, take this.
No.
That had to be
Another doctor, a gentler doctor. And she would be very empathetic and just, keep trying. You've lost weight. You look good. And her nurse was she followed me a little bit. She went on it for a little bit and she lost some weight, but she gave it up. And I think it's just the total program. It's the total program. It's not, it takes a village of support from the dietitian and from Dr. Huber and encouraging each other and everything. So,
well, I had one or two other questions. My last question, I'm sorry, was when you were first diagnosed and put on insulin, and I'm assuming I know this answer, did they ever say, hey, if you change your diet, this can be reversed? Were you ever given that possibility or the chance that?
Well, they say diet and exercise, but they send me to dietitians, but the whole time I would be with those dietitians, they were showing me the food triangle and saying, you got to eat bread and you got to have carbs, And I remember coming to your class the first time you came to our work, and you were just right there with me. Like, no, you don't have to eat those carbs. You don't have to. It wasn't working. It was horrible. I was eating more carbs. I felt like I was. I could have been lying to myself, but I felt like I was eating more carbs on that diet than and fruits. You just don't have to eat fruits. Fruits are good every now and then. And some fruits are good, but you don't have to. You can eat veggies and meat, lots of meat. I love meat and fat.
Healthy fats.
Yes.
Yeah, healthy fats.
And the other thing I was going to add is if someone's watching this and they're on insulin, we always recommend their work with the doctor to
right.
Because it wasn't like you just did this on your own. I know Dr. Huber worked with you because of medication. You can't just stop taking your insulin all at once. So I think that's important, working with a practitioner who knows.
Exactly.
Yeah, it has to be done safely.
Yes.
I mean, there's a slider scale that you can take with the fast acting, but the rest of it, you got to talk to the doctor. Taper yourself down. I just kept tapering myself down.
There's got to be somebody watching this that goes, oh, I couldn't do that. Her diet is so restrictive. I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
Speak to that. Speak to the beautiful food you eat. How delicious.
Well, there's a fibromyalgia group on Facebook that I'm a member of, and those people are just absolutely miserable, and they talk about how bad they hurt. And I get on there and I say, you can cure this with your diet. And the remarks that I get, they're in disbelief. They just don't even believe it. Wow.
Yeah.
But you really can, because I don't have it. And another thing, I had neuropathy in my feet. That's gone. That's gone. The fibromyalgia is gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really is. It's a miracle.
And like you said early on, beautifully, I was teaching myself to heal. You believed in your ability to heal. You would not have accomplished this if you had met us and went, oh, that won't work for me.
Yeah.
You get all the credit because you were willing to open up your mind and say, you know what? I'm willing to try something different. I'm willing to explore. I'm willing to experiment to see how good can be. And, you know, the beautiful part of your story is you were willing to take a chance on a new direction and believe. And so like the people you talk to on the fibromyalgia group that, that won't work. Their minds are closed.
They
And they're
choose
not,
it. I mean,
yeah.
they do. You can choose to be healthy or you can choose to be miserable. It is your choice.
Mhm.
And your
It is your
design.
choice.
Mhm. Yes.
And like I told Chelsea once, it even says in the Bible, man can't live by bread alone. You don't have to have
You need a pork chop now and again.
yeah, eat you a pork chop.
Don't say
I
that.
like pork chops. I like meat.
I love it.
So as we go to wrap this up, just anybody watching who does have type 2 diabetes, type 2 diabetes is not a genetic disease. It's a disease of lifestyle. You give yourself diabetes. Nobody has ever been born with diabetes. You give it to yourself based on your lifestyle. You didn't mean to, but it happened. And just know anybody with type 2 diabetes can reverse it. We're talking with Nancy because her story is incredible.
Mhm.
Her weight loss is incredible. And she is not in the least the first person that we've seen come off insulin as a type 2 diabetic. So if this is the first you're hearing about it, call Chelsea, have a conversation, see what you can do. Nancy, how many drugs are you now off of because of you changing what you do?
Mostly the insulin, and actually I'm on some supplements like potassium and magnesium. I do take a blood pressure pill because they tell me it protects my kidneys, and I take Farxiga. I still take some medication, but I think if I can get back on and get this weight off, I can get rid of that too. I would love to.
Yeah. Okay.
Part two.
Part two.
There's another 50.
Yeah. So
love it.
it is amazing.
Yeah.
We talk a lot about another gentleman from where you're employed, Pat,
Mhm.
that came off, I don't know, 10
Oh yeah, I know Pat.
insulin.
He's
Came off
my
insulin like in 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Came
Yeah.
off drugs in 6 months. I mean, so just the reason I share this is anything is possible if you're willing to change the things you do on a daily basis, and we want to help you with that change.
Mhm.
Any other
No.
closing thoughts or
That is
questions?
it. I think.
I would just like to say it's silent. So if you suspect that your sugar's up, or if you're having a lot of pain and inflammation, you should definitely check your blood sugar.
Mhm.
What's your happiness level today versus 10 years ago?
Oh my gosh, it's like a 10. I think as far as loving myself, and some days it's a 9, sometimes it's an 8. But you gotta fight. You gotta keep on fighting. If something hurts, keep on using it.
Yeah.
If your leg hurts, keep on moving it. Because there's definitely, like you also said, I don't know if you're the one that said it exactly like this, but there's like lotion in the motion. If your legs and stuff are hurting, get up and walk, and
Yeah.
that you're gonna hurt anyway.
Might as well get some.
That's what I found. You're gonna feel better if you just get up and move, and don't feel deprived because you can't have that cupcake. You're doing yourself a favor by not eating that cupcake.
Yep. You can have all the cupcakes you want,
Mhm.
but you have to accept the responsibility of it. Yep.
Mhm.
Nancy,
Right.
thank you so much.
Yes,
You're a
thank
delight.
you.
You've
Thank
always
you.
been a pleasure. Thank you for sharing some time with us. I'm sure somebody out there is listening to your words and feeling who you are and going, man, I am just like that gal. I can do this too.
Yes.
You
So
can
I
do
think
it.
you're going to help a
You can
lot
do
of
it.
people with your story. And I
Good.
appreciate you sharing it.
Mhm. I totally agree.
Any other thoughts?
No, thank you so much, Nancy. I really
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
Bye now.